You on this video. So now in this video we are going to talk about the recent development in the current affairs regarding the forest. Okay, this falls under the section environment. Okay, and now we are going to see what are the various changes and the various updates has seen in this past month, in this year 2024. So there are basically 8 to 9 development that has happened inside the in the context of forest. So we'll discuss it now. So the first comes the eco sensitive zone, which is also known as ESZ. So ESZ is eco sensitive zone, which is also it is a eco sensitive zone basically which is basically recognized for any protected area, and it is also a shock observer of a protected area. Okay, so if any kind of abnormal activity occurs inside the protected area, then eco sensitive zone is a one which is recognized for the protected area, so that it can prevent those abnormal activities to happen. Next, eco-sensitive zone is created under the National Wildlife Action Plan 2002 to 2016. Under what it exercises its power under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. All right, now let's see what is this economic eco-sensitive zone. So see, eco-sensitive zone is an area which falls within the 10 kilometer within the 10 kilometer from the radius of the national park and wildlife sanctuary. So from the boundary of the national park and wildlife sanctuary, the 10-kilometer area, from the boundary of national park and wildlife sanctuaries are called as a eco-sensitive zone. And in this eco-sensitive zone, no minings within the national park, and also 1 kilometer of the radius is allowed, and no major hydropower project is allowed. And what does it permits in the eco-sensitive zone? So it permits the agriculture and horticulture by the local communities, so that the community rights in the forest, like for example of the tribal rights in the forest, are not being curtailed negatively. So, and other is that felling of the trees, drastic change in the agricultural system, commercial use of water resources. These are basically what are the things which is regulated by the under the eco-sensitive zone. So this is about the eco-sensitive zone. I hope this is clear. Now next, move on to the next development, that is a Central Empowered Committee, CEC. Central Empowered Committee, CEC. Okay, so remember, Central Empowered Committee is a committee which is formed by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It exercises this power under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986, and it is a central EC. CEC is a statutory body, and it replaces the ad hoc CEC of 2022. Organizational structure are chairman. It consists of chairman and the 3 expert members, and the chief coordinating officer not below the rank of the DIG of forest or the director of the government of India. What is the function of CEC? The function of the CEC is to monitor the implementation of the Supreme Court order, and next is to deal with the application made by the aggrieved person. These are the functions of the CEC. Okay, now next, move on to the next third development. That is, third development is from the United Nations Forum on the Forest. So United Nations Forum on Forest. So basically, recently what happened was, India hosted the country-led initiative event under the United Nations Forum on Forest in Uttarakhand, in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Okay, so basically this country-led initiative focuses on the forest fires and the wildlife, and forest certification, and sustainable forest management. Here the sustainable forest management is one of the very important objective of the United Nations Forum on the Forest. So what is this sustainable forest management? Sustainable forest management is basically, it handles, or it takes care about the it handles about the handles about the how should be the resources of the forest to be used, how it is to be protected, what are its social economic functions, so and so. There are basically, these all are divided into the 7 elements. Those are extent of the forest resources, biological diversity, forest health and viability, productivity of the forest productivity function of the forest resources, protective function of the forest resources, socioeconomic function, legal policy and institutional framework. So these are the sustainable forest management issues which falls under the sustainable forest management activities. Now moving on to the next one is the Indian Forest and Wood Certification. As I said, United Nation Forum on Forest has two things. One is a forest certification. Another one is sustainable forest management, which I've already discussed about the sustainable forest management. Of course, the term itself reveals the objective of the sustainable forest management activities. Since it has the management of the forest resources, use of the forest resources has to be sustainable, so that it has to meet the need of both the present and the future, right? Well, now moving ahead, Indian Forest and Wood Certification Scheme. So this promotes the sustainable forest management and sustainable management of the trees outside forest. So see, inside the forest there are two things. One is a forest area, another one is trees outside the forest, which is also called as which is also abbreviation used as TOF. Okay, so trees outside forest and tree forest area. These are two important aspect of the forest. So basically, this certification scheme provides incentives to those entities like of state forest department or another forums which adheres to the sustainable forest management, which sticks to the sustainable forest management, right? And there are three type of certification provided by it. Number one, forest management certification, which is based on the three forest management standards. Three forest management standards. There are 8 criteria to fulfill that. And next is a tree outside forest management certification, chain of custody certification. All right, I hope this is clear. Now moving ahead, we'll now see there are other small development also has happened, which is I call it as a auxiliary or the additional topics. One is a International Tropical Timber Organization. It only brings under its ambit the functions under the timber, tropical timber. Okay, the type of vegetation is tropical, and the function of the trees inside that tropical forest is a timber, which is used for furniture. Timber means it's a the parts of the tree, the parts of the tree which is used for the furniture and other functions. So International Tropical Timber Organization, it is an intergovernmental organization, promotes sustainable management and conservation of the tropical forest. Okay, promotion of sustainable management of the tropical forest and the conservation of the tropical forest. And India is a member of this International Tropical Timber Organization. Other is the aggregated or compensatory afforestation, which is also known as a ACA, which is CA is very famous. Compensatory afforestation, we have already heard about the compensatory afforestation in the environment chapter, in the topic in the book, the topic when we talk about the forest inside the environment, we talk about the compensatory afforestation. So compensatory afforestation is that it deals with the compensatory afforestation deals with the use of the forest land for the non-forestry uses. So that's where the compensatory afforestation comes. Next is about all right, next talks about it falls under the compensatory aggregated compensatory afforestation. It falls under the Forest Conservation Rule of 2022 and Forest Conservation Act of 1980, right? And it deals with a system of proactive afforestation to obtain the approval for the for the non-forestry use of the forest land, as I said, right? And remember, it falls under the Forest Conservation Rule 2022 and Forest Conservation Act 1980, not forest conservation, not under the Forest Conservation Act 1986, right? It is a Forest Conservation Act 1980, before 1986. Okay. Second, it is a system of proactive afforestation. It is a system of proactive afforestation to obtain approval for what? Approval for the non-forestry use of the forest land, non-forestry use of the forest land. And next, Global Forestry Watch, which is a global forest watch, which is a world regulation of world. And this basically what does it does is contact the it is a g it is basically created under the Global Forest Watch in 1992. Okay. And another one is the collaborative partnership on the forest. So these are the basically how many topics we have discussed. Eco-sensitive, number 1. CEC, number 2. United Nations Forum on Forest, 3. Indian Forest and Wood Certification, 4. 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so there are 8 topics we have discussed. So this was about the forest, and remember it, and I hope this is clear. Thank you very much, and all the best for your prelims.